All right, welcome back to today's episode. I'm here with Nathan, and we are going to talk about Bootstrap Bill Turner.
Yes.
Wait, no, sorry, I read that wrong. Bootstrapping.
Oh, bootstrapping.
Business. Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
business. What's
so how we got started.
Business?
So it's basically starting a business with your own money.
Yes.
So, Nate, why would you want to bootstrap?
Well, we decided to bootstrap back in 2009 when we were starting the company, and we stuck with that decision ever since. And that was really because we didn't want to take on a lot of risk. Like, it just feels risky to go out and say, hey, we have this idea for this company. Can you give us, a couple $100,000 or something to start it?
Yeah.
And then all that pressure, and it's, I feel really guilty if we couldn't make a return on that. And there's so much uncertainty back then. So I think that, and overall just not wanting to answer to the investors and kind of have them pulling the strings and controlling us. Like, we'd really rather answer to the customer and whatever it is that the customer wants. If we can't come up with something good enough that the customer wants to pay for it, then we're just not doing a good enough job. Yeah. And so that's really what should gauge the business, and that's what should be controlling us, not investors. What do you think? You have anything to add to that?
No, I think that's great. I think for us, it worked out really well. It de-risked us. Yeah. We were able to really kind of build, what we thought was the right thing to build, but that also came with, the clarity or the confidence of, customers using it and getting their feedback and hey, we're on the right path. Right. Or hey, maybe we need to pivot a little bit here. So starting a business without investment. So, how did that look for us?
I think it was just a matter of us just saying, hey, let's see what we can do, and let's put something out there and see if there's any interest in this. And that's really what we want to do. Not see if investors are interested, but our customers interested. And so we basically built that simple landing page saying, hey, this is what we're building. This is about what we're going to charge. The page was ugly. We found free Google AdWords, like $100 free advertising, drive a little
know where that came from,
yeah,
right?
And so we did that to just see, and we started getting some signups, and we started getting some people that were interested. So we said, all right, maybe there's something here. Let's put a little more work into this, because at this point, all we're risking is our Saturday mornings. Because we had day jobs then. We just thought, let's get together on Saturday mornings and try this. And so that was what we were risking, is time on Saturday mornings. This was before kids. This was, we kind of had a little time we could waste, and it wouldn't kill us. So we did that, and that was our risk there.
Nice. So what other tips would you give people who, maybe wanting to do this without investing any money? What are some ways they can save their money?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things is to not quit your day job. Yeah. We didn't do that, right? And we did this for a year or two at least before we actually quit our day jobs. Because, I've seen people do this, and it always makes me nervous when they get this idea. So they say, oh, I need all this time, so I'm going to quit my day job and go into this and hope it works out, right? And that scared me, right? That's risky, right? Absolutely. And we like to de-risk. So it maybe takes a little longer, but we were able to just work on Saturday mornings in my basement, right? Yeah. And work on it there. So keeping the day job, save some money, put some money away in advance, so that maybe when you are ready to make that transition from your full-time job to your new business, maybe you've got some traction. It's nice to have a little money in the bank account to help supplement. Yeah. If you're going to be dropping or your bills are going to be tight, you've got that little buffer for a while.
And I think for us, we were blessed too, where we were before. We were able to go down to part-time first before we made the full jump. So we were, as we were building the business up, if you look at it as like a seesaw, we were kind of able to slowly shift over to full-time, which I think was
a huge
win for us. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So what other tips would you recommend for someone who's looking to start a business?
Finding a good co-founder.
Can you say that one again? I didn't write this down.
I'm still trying to learn how to do this, but find a good co-founder. No, that is huge.
Absolutely.
Finding a good co-founder, finding someone else, because doing it alone is tough. Yeah. That's for a couple of reasons. So, one is just the skill sets. Usually it helps to have someone that is opposite you that has different skill sets. We're very different. I think.
From t-shirt.
Yeah, right. Like I dress up, he doesn't, right? So
hair.
That's a good one, John. That's a good one. Funny.
But you got it there.
So. Yeah. So that's a big thing, is just the differences and finding someone that does complement your skill set. And I think just there's probably a little bit of an emotional element to it too. Like you need to know someone else is kind of counting on you to push through and do your work.
Yeah.
And just know that, if something's taken a while, or if there's any kind of discouraging part of the business, someone else is in it with you.
Yeah. It's like that healthy accountability.
Yeah, exactly. It is. And it keeps you going, because otherwise, if you're going by yourself, you might just say, "Man, I'm done. I've been going at this. We still don't have a customer." You want to give up, but it's just nice when there's someone else with you. Another one, I think, charging money to customers. Right?
Whoa! Wait a second. No, really?
Yeah. Charge money. Charge money. Yes.
Very controversial.
Yes. So how many times do we see this? This is what's in all the news. This is what's kind of frustrating, I think, a little bit. Is to watch these, TechCrunch and these blogs and everything. They're covering all these stories. I mean, obviously the big ones are Facebook or Twitter or something like this, where they're not charging money, right?
Yeah.
So everyone thinks they can just do this big thing and eventually charge for advertising or something like this, and they get all these users, and they have all these users, so then they go raise money and say, "Look, we've got all these users," and it's this weird thing where no one's actually making money.
Right. Yeah.
And quite often those things fall apart.
Yeah, you're just burning investors' money.
You're just burning investors' money, and it's just a risky thing. It's a hard thing to do because you have to get so many people. But actually, what's a lot easier is to create something of value that you can charge, especially to a business. So if you go to a business and say, "Here's this thing. It's going to help you be more efficient, save money, and it doesn't cost that much. Here's how much it costs." Or maybe it does cost a lot. That's fine too if you want to do that. But either way, charging to a business is way easier than trying to charge something to a consumer. Consumers don't typically want to pay for things. They want everything to be free. Businesses understand if they want something good, it's probably going to cost money.
Right.
And so finding a way that you can help a business be better, be more efficient, is a way that you can make money. And you can start with one. You find one company that will pay you for something, right? I remember the day we launched, and we're like, is anybody going to buy, right? So we've been working on this for a year. We had beta users, but then we said, all right, we need to know, will people pay for this?
Right.
It was a little scary moment.
Yeah.
And we flipped the switch, and then we said, all right, now if anybody wants to continue using it, it's $10 a month, right? $29 a month. And I think we had $49 a month or something.
Or $79.
Something, a couple different, might have been $79. And right away that day, we had someone sign up for $29 a month.
Yeah.
Right? We're like, whoa, this is, so it's working, right?
Yeah.
Someone we don't know, someone that we didn't know. And so definitely recommend charge money.
Yeah, totally. I think it's important to if you can, build something that you are going to use and that you are going to benefit from too.
So another thing I think with this is just being super productive, right?
Yeah.
So what are some ways you found to be super productive in order to work? I mean, when we were just working with Saturday mornings, how did we do that back then?
I think you had to know, what were things that you could work on.
Yeah.
And then you had to pick the best one. You had to prioritize your day. You had to figure out, what is something that is going to have the highest impact.
There's a million things that could be done.
Totally.
But it's about picking the right thing.
Yeah.
It's going to have the biggest impact at that time.
Yeah, and then structuring your day and then sort of even moving forward into now, where, it's more than just Saturday mornings. We've got, weeks dedicated to it. And, you have that list of tasks. You've got to prioritize your day. You've got to figure out, what's going to have a big impact, long term. What's something that I need to get done to maybe unblock somebody else.
Yeah.
Or just what is, some planning that I need to do so that when we, 2 months down the road or 2 weeks down the road, we don't go twiddling our thumbs and go, I've got nothing to work on. So, it's really about figuring out what are the right things to work on for today. And then when you are, just really dedicating your time to getting that done.
Yeah.
We've seen a couple of different ways of doing it. There's the Pomodoro technique that some of the guys use here, where they're really just, giving themselves 25 minutes of hyper-focused time with small breaks in between. Then there's sort of some other variations that we do here too, where, we're really just, once we start something, we want to work through and finish it.
And I think it's cool too, because if one benefit of not taking money is you don't have to spend all your time coming up with presentations for investors.
Yeah.
And, that's like a whole job. I mean, that's a lot of times what a CEO of a company spends a lot of time doing is working with investors, right? But instead, we just focus on the product, right? Because that's the thing to us we identify as the most important thing is let's work on the product, or let's work, at the time when we were first starting, it was that. But now it's also other things with let's make sure we create great videos. Let's make sure we create, great overall customer support experience and all these different things, and just focusing on that instead of these investors.
Yeah, we're building sort of presentations for the customer, not for investors.
Right,
so.
exactly.
And I think another thing too is really guard yourself from burning yourself out.
Yeah.
So you've got to know when to stop on certain things. You've got to know when to take a break.
Yeah.
You need to structure your day in a sense that, and really burnout, I guess, really is more than a day. It takes a little while to get there.
Yeah.
But you need to kind of structure yourself in a way that you're not allowing burnout to happen. Really have those, the clearly defined lines of this is personal life, this is work life, and then personal life back at the end of the day.
Yep.
Really, if you can kind of keep a structure and you know when to turn things on and when to turn things off, it can really prevent you from getting into a burnout phase.
Yep. That's why we do the 36-hour work weeks.
So you've hit a wall. What are you're stuck on something. What are some ways you can kind of get past that wall?
Anytime you're starting a business, you're doing uncharted territory, right? Yeah. It's something you've never done before, right? So we had never done this before. We had never started a company before.
Right.
We never started a software company. We never started anything, right? And times are always changing, and it's just it can be a little overwhelming trying to figure out what do you focus on, what do you work on, what marketing tactics should you try, how much effort should you put into your product, should you hire people, all these things. There's all these decisions, all these unknowns. You can go a million ways with the company, right? It's really helpful to have someone to lean on and to ask, whether that's some kind of mentor that you have.
So do you have tools that or services that you've used?
At the time, we didn't know a whole lot of other we actually did find a good meetup to go to meet a couple people, which was really helpful.
But even that was in DC.
Since then, the Baltimore scene has picked up, and there's some more going on. There's so many podcasts now too to learn. Just absorbing this information from podcasts. Lots of great podcasts out there. Like Intercom runs a great podcast. Seeking Wisdom. There's tons of different podcasts out there. Tons of startup podcasts. Just look for them, check them out.
Time limit. That's
a good one. There's even services like Clarity, where you can actually, if you go to Clarity, you can actually look up different people, successful entrepreneurs who have been there and done that, and you can actually call them. And they have different rates. You might have to spend a couple dollars a minute to talk to them.
Right.
And you might have to spend a couple $100 on the phone call. But a couple $100 to talk to someone who's been there and done that and has built the same kind of business you're trying to build, it's so valuable. And there have been times we've done that, and they're like, should we do this kind of thing? Should we do that? And they give us some advice or something like that.
And that wisdom is worth so much more than what you're going to pay for it.
Oh, right? Yeah. That's you're talking about a couple $100 that could shift your business, and you could be talking about a couple $100,000 or something or more. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's totally worth it. So definitely try and learn from other people. And I think also the other thing is just really trying to make sure you build something people really want.
Yeah, definitely. And if you can build something that you want, I think that's even, that's sort of the pinnacle, right?
You're your own
of
customer.
Building something. Yeah, because you're your own customer. That's, if you've seen the TeamGantt stories of how we started, we really built this for us.
Because we went out there and looked and we couldn't find anything out there that solved what we were looking for. So we tried to build it. We knew exactly what we wanted. And of course, we talked to other people along the way, and they point out things they wanted that we didn't think of. And so we do change the product, and it's, now we rely extremely heavily on input from customers and potential customers. But that's a huge thing, and it doesn't take a lot of money to start a company nowadays.
No,
servers are cheap. Back when we started, we were paying.
I think we paid our first year or whatever was free because of referral codes that we had
from doing some website design.
And
so free to $10 a month. You can start an online business. We put maybe $100 into the company for maybe some real basic legal setup or whatever. We've since spent quite a bit more on legal fees, but back then to start, seriously, we probably started the company for $100, and we had our laptops, and that was it. So it can be done. It's more about sweat equity, and it's putting in the time and putting in some weekends and doing that to get started. So keep the day job, build something that ideally the business wants to pay for, and find a way to market that efficiently. Whether that's social media, whether that's SEO, whether that's blogging, whether that's video, whether that's whatever it is. There's different ways, and it's all different. Email marketing, all these things are different, and it's different for every business. But you got to try it, and you got to figure that out. That's a tricky thing, but figuring that out, there's ways it can be done without spending a ton of money if you have a good product.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for checking in with us today, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.